Hello again, viewers, and welcome again to Discovering Truth. And I am Pastor Forbes from Abiding Word Ministries here in the Gambia. Well, it's a pleasure to be with you again, and I want to continue the discussion we started last week. And I'm sure a lot of thinking, discourse is going on about this because it's really the way we dress that determines the way we are dressed. People will treat you by the way you show respect for yourself, the way you appear, the way you comport yourself, the way you speak, and just those things, rightly or wrongly, people judge you on that. And so we're looking at our personal lives, my personal life, your family, my family, and we are climbing onto the bigger person called the Gambia. And I said last week that our focus is on perception, character, reputation, and integrity. Perception, character, reputation, and integrity. And we wrapped those four in one word called intentionality. So if you missed it, I'm sure you can follow it on social media. Last week is there. And we started by looking at an encounter between two royals, King Solomon of Israel and the Queen of Sheba. And just by where she came from, she was a black woman, but she was a queen. So it was royalty visiting royalty. So I'll read it again, extend it a bit, talk about something else. And if we don't finish, I'll do a third part. But we were focusing on First Kings in the Bible. And I told you in the Old Testament and the New Testament, there are some books that are first and second, first and second, first and second. And there is one book in the New Testament which is first, second, and third. And that's the Epistle John, towards the end of the Bible. But here we are in the Old Testament, First Kings, not Second Kings, First Kings, chapter 10. So if you're following the Bible, you'll get Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges. Then you come to 1 Samuel, 2 Samuel, 1 Kings, 2 Kings, 1 Chronicles, 2 Chronicles, Ezra, Nehemiah, Esther, Job, Psalms, Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, you keep going all the way, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Lamentations, Ezekiel, Daniel, you go all the way until you come to Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and you end with the 66th book, Revelations. So we're looking at 1 Kings chapter 10. It says, now when the Queen of Sheba, the queen of the kingdom of Sheba, heard of the fame of King Solomon concerning the name of the Lord. Maybe somewhere in the future, I will be led to give an explaining about this, because you can be famous about many things. People are famous for many things, but you can be famous concerning the name of the Lord, how you honor the name of the Lord, how you represent the name of the Lord, how you show the dignity of the name of the Lord. People know you for that and can celebrate you for that, and you can become famous, and your notoriety will be known for that. So the Queen of Sheba heard of the fame and the popularity of King Solomon concerning the name of his God. So she came to test him with hard questions. She came with Jerusalem with a very large company and convoy or retinue. She had camels that bore spices. Needless to say, they must have been top quality, because this is royalty coming to test royalty. You know, you see it in most state functions, royal functions too. Maybe they will present a particular gift to the royal. The royal will also give another gift. And the gifts got to be, they have to match. So she brought camels with spices. She brought a lot of gold and also precious stones. So diamonds, beryl, topaz, onyx, bdellium, precious stones. And when she came to King Solomon, she spoke with him about everything that was in her heart. Verse 3 says, so Solomon answered all her questions. There was nothing so difficult for the king that he could not explain it to her. And we know that because we said last week, when Solomon ascended the throne because there was sibling rivalry between his brothers, one called Adonijah, another one called Absalom, another one called Amnon. It was almost like a dysfunctional family. He asked God to help him to rule and asked God for wisdom and a large heart, and God gave him. And the wisdom is being displayed here. Verse 4 says, when the queen of Sheba noticed 8 things about King Solomon: 1, all his wisdom; 2, the house that he had built; 3, the food on his table; 4, the seating of his servants; 5, the serving of his waiters; 6, their apparel, their costume; 4, the cupbearers. 7. And finally 8, the way in which he even climbed the stairs and came down. It says she became breathless. There was no more spirit in her. It's as if she fainted. I think the Sierra Leoneans have this word that you call it. That's like dangangang in saying Wolof. You just open your mouth like a fly has gone in, you don't even know. Because you are so much in shock that can man be this excellent, efficient, classy, top? Can things be this error-free? Can somebody do this? And then she said to the king, in verse 6, it was a true report that I heard in my own land about your words and your wisdom. In other words, your reputation has preceded your appearance with me. In other words, things about you have gone viral. Everybody knows about you. You know, things go viral in 2 ways. Virally positive and sometimes virally negative. Either way, people are excited to repost and share. Either a misdemeanor, something bad, a compromised position somebody was caught in, a lie or something very great that is worthy of emulation and celebration, and everybody makes it viral. It just hits tens, hundreds, thousands, millions. She said, it was a true report that I heard in my own land about your words and your wisdom. However, I did not believe my words until I came and saw with my own eyes. And indeed, I now know that the half of what you are doing was not even told me. Your wisdom and your prosperity exceed the fame which I had. And I said, ladies and gentlemen, this is not ad hoc. This is not coincidental. This is not chance. This is intentional. It is deliberate. It's discipline. It's practice. It's rehearsal. It's tweaking here, tweaking there. It's second-guessing situations. It's taking feedback. It's adjusting and readjusting. It's mapping things down. It's making things sure things are symmetrical. It's taking the apparel back to the seamstress or the company that this doesn't fit well. One sleeve is shorter than the other. It's telling the painter, scrape the paint again. Make sure you put something that smoothes it. There's just something. And the truth about it in our own part of the world, and you know it as I do, is that when you do that, people say you are fussy. Nega opal. The British will say you are OTT, over the top. But we all want excellence. When you look at things like synchronized swimming, underwater, or you look at things like acrobatics, circus moves, you look at some military parades, or you look at even some state limousines driving to the edge of the carpet. The driver is seated in front and he's looking forward, and yet he has so practiced and known where to stop that car. So when the door opens, the royalty, the CEO, the president, whoever that VIP is not going on the grass or on sand, is going on the red carpet. Interior decoration, floral decoration, seating arrangements, organization. You see it in opening ceremonies of huge events, closing ceremonies. You don't see any perception of people being unsure. They don't know what to do. People milling around all over the place, everything looking so disorganized, nice slapdash. It's like, did they practice? Is this what we want to show about our company, about our family, about our institution? Is this how we want to present our nation? I told you that last week, a servant of God, choice servant of God who has now gone to glory, made a statement once when he was speaking. He said, always dress the way you want to be addressed. So the Queen of Sheba was blown away. She said, I heard about you and I thought, let me come and try. Let me come. And I'm not coming empty-handed. So if he has, I have. If he gives, I can give. But she's noticed 8 things that could not have been not noticed or unnoticed. You know, when you see excellence, when you see efficiency, when you see style, when you see organization, when you see finesse, you notice it. Even if it's not done deliberately for you to notice it, you will notice it. Because sometimes you are comparing your own. It's like, wow, we need to do better here. Wow, we are blown. And ladies and gentlemen, the people who do excellence and efficiency do not have 3 faces, 4 eyes, 2 mouths, and 14 legs. They are people just like you and I. But they give attention to detail. First of all, they even have the desire for excellence. They want to celebrate themselves. They want to love themselves. They want to believe that they can do the best for themselves so that inevitably and every time the best will become. And people relate to us like that. And so here she said, happy are your men, happy are your servants who stand continually before you and hear your wisdom. Then she begins to bless him. It doesn't stop there. In verse 10, it says, then she gave the king 120 talents of gold. My goodness. Spices in great quantity. Precious stones. There never again came such abundance of spices as the Queen of Sheba gave Solomon. Ladies and gentlemen, there are things we can get in this life by our character, by our reputation, by our integrity, and by people's perception of us. This woman was blown away and her generosity opened up, and she gave King Solomon spices in abundance that up to today nobody has been able to surpass. And not only that, she said she came with ships from a place called Hiram. She brought gold from a place called Ophir, great quantities of almug wood, that must be a special type of wood, and precious stones. And the king used them to add value to his own palace. He made the steps of the almug wood for the house of God and for the king's house, the house of God first, then the king's house, and also musical instruments and harps for the singers. Again, it says, there never again came such almug wood, nor has there been any as seen to this day. You can imagine how that queen went home, got back and sat down and called her people and said, guys, we need to do better. Team, we need to up our game. For this to be observed, as I said last week, there has to be a sense of intentionality. Ladies and gentlemen, your reputation, my integrity, our character and perception will get us into places, open doors, open windows, opportunities, all kinds of things can happen. Isn't that a better way than always having a note? Kisuma Jarbadla, na mi nephew, na mi cousin in sister Pekin. And most of those times, those letters or notes are made so that people can overlook efficiency, overlook ability, overlook discipline, overlook consistency, and definitely not get into the outcomes that they want. Try running a company and employing everybody because they were this person's friend and cousin and uncle, and you're not going to go anywhere. There's got to be merit. And for somebody to merit something, they must merit it. They must work to merit it. Yes, I agree. Sometimes there can be racial prejudices and things like that, tribalism, but those things are not global. You can go a place where you'll be respected, where you'll be honored. In fact, let me take a leaf out of the Bible. There is a verse in the Bible that says a person's gift, their ability, their character opens doors and makes room for them and brings them before people. There is another verse similar to that that says if you see somebody who is diligent and consistent in what they do, their diligence will take them to the top before kings and people who matter, and they will never be wallowing in the bottom before mean people. So it starts with me. Intentionality starts with me, with you. Gambia, it starts with us. Do we want to project an intentionally organized country, an intentionally efficient country, an intentionally clean country? We boast about Rwanda. Rwanda is not magic. It's not happenstance. It's not chance. That is intentionality. That is intentionality. When we see, I remember the funeral of late Queen Elizabeth and the coronation of President King Charles. The organization, the arrival of and people who came late, like the present sitting American president, had to be moved somewhere because there was organization in sitting. It means there's a lot of planning that has gone behind the scenes because we want to be addressed the way we appear. We are appearing in such a way that people will take us seriously. We are organizing, we are planning. Things are being done on maybe a need-to-know basis. You don't need to know, you will not be told. If you are not supposed to be there, you are not supposed to be there. If you take places like airports, I believe there are different tags and they are color-coded. Some tags allow you to the VIP line. Some cannot allow you into arrival. Some do not take you to the apron and the tarmac. I remember once going to a particular institution and I was being given a tour with a friend of mine, and this was in the US many years ago. And we wanted to go to a particular place because that's where the CEO was. And our tour guide said, unfortunately, my tag does not give me clearance into that place. So we had to turn back. Because sometimes you don't want a place to look like a market when it's supposed to be an office. You want organization. You want it to be different. And so we go to the drawing board. But first, we must have that sense of dignity, pride, discipline, and respect for ourselves. I told you last week that I'll talk about some men. In the 4th book of the Bible, Numbers, God was taking these people that he had delivered from Egyptian bondage for over 4 centuries. He was taking them into their promised land, the land of Canaan. And then he told Moses, choose 12 spies, because there were 12 tribes. 1 spy for each tribe, 1 leader representing their tribe. And let them go and spy out this land that I have told them about. Let them go and check its agriculture, check everything about it, check its security, and check and confirm and prove and affirm that what I said is true. So Moses chose 1 man from each of the 12 tribes, 12 men, leaders. You know, leadership is not followership. When you are a leader, there is something that is expected about how you think, how you answer, how you perceive things, how you second guess, how you judge, how you think. And all 12 went. As spies, they went into this land and they saw that the land, in their words, was flowing with milk and honey. They had pomegranates this big. They had 1 cluster of grapes that had to be put on a pole between 2 men's shoulders. So it was fertile, super fertile. This was like prosperity, abundance, largesse. 10 out of the 12, when they came back and gave a report, this is what they said. They said, we came into the land, and we saw the land. Here is the fruit. The land truly flows with milk and honey. But we also saw the children of Anak. They look like giants. And when we saw them, in our eyes, they look like giants. And we suddenly, in our eyes, looked like grasshoppers. And because we looked like grasshoppers, we are sure that that is the way they saw us. Dress the way you want to be addressed. If you look down upon yourself, it's difficult for people to celebrate you, except families or people who really want to help you, encourage you, and, just build you up. But, if you beat yourself down too much, or if you are habitually disorganized, habitually late, habitually non-efficient, non-excellent, sloppy, after some time, people will address you the way you appear. So the Queen of Sheba saw intentionality. She celebrated it, she rewarded it, and I am so sure she went back and called her people and said, guys, we need to tighten here. I've seen something. That's how we need to do. And so I want to stop here. Maybe I'll take a third, but I'm not sure. But just to say, we can all be better than we are if we desire it. I recently had somebody make a comment that Bruce Lee, the late martial arts specialist, we all watched his movie, he said, I don't fear a man who practices 10,000 kicks, but I fear the man who practices one kick 10,000 times. He has perfected it. He has perfected it. That kick is going to work anywhere, anytime, 24/7, 365. Dress the way you want to be addressed. Gambia, we need to be intentional about what we do. And that intentionality must come from the top, from leadership. Because as goes the leader, so go the followership. It's to me as a pastor. As I go, if I'm inefficient, if I'm sloppy, if I'm disorganized, everything we do in Abiding Word Ministries and the Forbes Academy will be like that. This Queen of Sheba, the last of the 8 things she noticed was even the way the king was walking, going up and down. She said to herself, no wonder. If he is like this, that is why his people are like that. And the people themselves are galvanized, energized, and motivated to do it because they see the example of the leader. At all levels and strata of leadership, that is how we must behave. If not, it will never happen. But I pray that our perception, our character, our integrity, our reputation, wrapped up in a sense, national sense of intentionality, will bring the required transformation we want. Yes, some will be upset. I might even be upset along the line, but it's always, like in the words of our national anthem, for the common good. And we'll all be happy. And as they say in English, the end then would have been justified by the means. Until I come your way next week, by the special grace of God, this is Pastor Forbes saying, let's be intentional at every level to be efficient, excellent, to be top rate in all we do, so that wherever we are, we will be known. And as a nation, we will punch way beyond our weight because of our excellence, our reputation, our dignity. Have a good day, and may God keep our country together.